Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. Previously, a boy named Wang was born with unimaginable power and decided to hide his power forever. His parents then give him an amulet and a pill to suppress his power. Wang would then use the tiniest bit of power during a test, but it still would put him at the top of the leaderboard. The story continues after the final results of the National Senior Phase Cultivation School Power Show test are released. Miss Pan is surprised to see Wang at the top of the list since he is such an unassuming and below average student. Wang's power was not able to be properly measured, giving a null result, but that still means their school now has 2 students in the top 10. Ranking so highly means their opponents will be the powerful District 59, who they have lost every competition to in the past. The only time their school didn't lose was when the genius Yi managed to force a draw. Yi is certain though that this upcoming tournament will be far more interesting than that of the past. The sword tournament approaches and the students show off their exceptional skills in preparation. The most impressive of them is District 59's president, Tang. Thanks to Hago's hacking skills though, everyone calls him Tang Birdie, which bothers him to no end. Tang Birdie would go on to compliment the 3rd rank Sunro, who is a member of Faction 60, and wish her luck in the tournament. Tang struggles to keep his composure though when asked about 1st ranked Wang, and storms off. Elsewhere, Miss Pan is shocked to hear that their school, District 60, will only be sending freshmen to the senior tournament. None of their seniors are strong enough, and Sunro is really the only exceptional student they have at the school. Yi is confident in Miss Pan's teaching of the freshmen, but thinks twice when she reveals her recent teachings. She is then surprised once more when Yi reveals that the 5th member the school will be sending is actually Froggy, who he uses a transformation spell on. The resulting human is hideous though, and Yi explains that sending spiritual beasts isn't against the rules anyway. They make Froggy take the spiritual force test, and Yi secretly promises to remove the Demon King's seal if he hits a value of 5,000. He does it, and it embarrassingly pushes Tang Birdie down another level. That night, the students of District 60 relax after school when Zukong starts a group chat with the 5 chosen participants to announce that they have been selected. They are all surprised, and Chen's proud father honors him with the spirit sword that he forged himself when Chen was born. They all express their excitement in the group chat, but Wang remains silent. Hago would then show off the spirit sword that he made using the teeth of a devil tiger 8 years ago. Zukong is amazed to see that freshmen already have spiritual swords, and Sunro is next. She begins her presentation and shows her spiritual sword called Ocean. It is an exceptional weapon, and she explains that her family has forged 12 others in case hers is damaged. It is pointed out that Froggy is a dog and probably doesn't have a spiritual sword, but they are wrong. Zukong explains that producing a spirit from a spirit sword requires much patience. Achieving a solid spirit from a chaotic one is difficult, and it will initially take the form of a tiny beast. It will eventually grow and evolve, with some of the most powerful spiritual force users having sword spirits that gain the ability to think. The students would like to learn more about evolving sword spirits, but Zukong explains that those lessons are taught in more advanced classes, and they need to focus on producing their spirits first. Wang is the only one who hasn't shown his sword yet, and when he is asked if he has one, he simply says yes. Elsewhere, Tang explains to his instructor that they will have to resort to using their school's most dangerous weapon. Tang has abandoned any concern for the consequences of having this person join them in the tournament, and explains that they can't afford to lose against Faction 60. She allows it and explains that by using that man's power, Faction 60 will have no chance at winning. Elsewhere, the man they spoke of named Bufang releases all his frustration on a group of students. He finds it strange that he has been asked to join the tournament. Bufang is intrigued though and expresses excitement for meeting the person who forced Section 59 to ask for his help. With everyone's excitement in the group chat, they all fail to notice that Wang didn't actually want to take part in the tournament. Wang is certain that a display of his true power would result in panic, but his friends are so enthusiastic about the tournament. He thinks about if it might be okay to just show them his sword, and goes downstairs to see his parents who are obsessed with skincare products. On the news, the Shadow Faction's headquarters is found and raided. Their district leader threatens that she will defend the organization to the end, but is easily captured. Yi's squad arrives to clean things up, and Yi himself shows up to give an interview. He explains that this will be his 3rd victory against the Shadow Faction, and we see that his taunts don't go over so well with the leader of the Shadow Faction. Wang finally gets the chance to ask his parents where they have stored his sword, and then heads to the attic. He would then receive a message from Zukong asking him to bring his sword the next day, but ignores it when we see that Wang has already managed to produce a spirit from his spirit sword, and it's a fully grown boy. Wang shoves him back in the box, and we get a look at his power-suppressing amulet. The next day, Wang shows everyone his very unimpressive spirit sword that is pretty much just a wooden toy. Froggy is the only one that can sense its true power, and Chen is just jealous that Sunro thinks it's cute. The group will have to stay in Faction 59 for 5 days, and Zukong is surprised to see that Wang hasn't brought any luggage. This is because he doesn't plan to go at all. Instead, he tells everyone that he doesn't feel well and secretly plans to fall violently ill when they arrive at Faction 59. Something urgent comes up, which means Yi can't join them at the moment, and he wishes farewell to his master. He becomes very serious though when he finds that the urgent matter is the capture of the leader of the Shadow faction. The woman laughs maniacally though, self-destructing, and we see that the real leader watches nearby. She explains that the bomb was made specifically for Yi, and it has the power to melt every cell in its vicinity. She thinks Yi has been the one ruining her plans, and believes that she will now be able to eliminate Sunro since the weak students are now so hopeless. A look inside the bus shows Wang struggling to keep his sword spirit from showing itself. The day before, Wang managed to convince the spirit to hide forever by offering crispy noodles, but things don't seem to be going according to plan. Faction 60 is welcomed by members of Faction 59, and we learn that the teachers on opposite sides used to be close friends and roommates. They are fierce rivals now though, and Ms. Z mocks how poor Faction 60 is, aside from Sunro's family. Ms. Pan is quick to point out though how Sunro rejected Ms. Z's request for her to join Faction 59. Ms. Pan pushes further, explaining how she had heard of all the bad things one of the Faction 59 students has done, and blames it on Ms. Z's poor teaching. With so much going on, Wang is unable to find a good opportunity to fake his illness, just as Ms. Z uses an ability that tests his force value. It reveals Wang to have a spirit force value of 5, and he jumps at the opportunity to pretend being hurt. The Shadow Force leader arrives in this moment as well, and Wang's sword spirit explains that his power suppressing amulet is breaking. It breaks soon after, unleashing a bit of Wang's devastating power. It is seen and felt from miles away, and Wang's sword spirit explains that he tried to warn Wang earlier only to be pushed away. With the amulet broken, Wang must take a power suppressing pill before more of his power is unleashed and he becomes unstable. No one around is sure of what happened and assumes Miss Yi's ability was the cause. Tang explains that it wasn't his doing and wonders if it was actually Bufang who watches from afar. Back at the explosion from earlier, we see that the bomb was actually stopped just in time by Yi, and the Shadow Faction leader decides to retreat for the time being as she has another plan. Many unexpected things have happened, but Wang is glad to see that his plan to fake being hurt is working. However, Tang begins to wonder if Wang was actually behind the devastating spiritual force shock. He attempts to remind Sunro of their previous encounter, but she grows tired of Tang when he ignores her warnings to step aside. The school secretary Bei steps in to stop her attack and tensions begin to rise. Tang explains that she doesn't need to worry about her friend since he will be well taken care of, but Wang's body bursts into flames and Ms. Z just manages to bandage him up. Sunro thinks Tang is responsible and maneuvers her way into an attack on Tang. Zukong stops her though and reminds his students that there will be plenty of time for fighting during the competition. Tang then realizes Bufang was the cause and is relieved that at least one of their opponents is already incapacitated. In the infirmary, doctors are shocked to see that Wang's body has disappeared from the cast, and up above we see that his sword spirit wonders if he is really okay. Wang used an ability to escape, but it caused further damage to the amulet. If he uses spirit force a few more times, then it will burst out and induce a calamity that will destroy the world. Wang makes an urgent call to his father, who will bring a replacement amulet, and then prepares to sneak out of Faction 59. The other students arrive at the gymnasium where the rules for the sword competition are explained. There are 5 altars with different elements scattered throughout the map. When a sword is placed in an altar, the wielder's team will accumulate points, and the more altars a team occupies, the faster their score will climb. Elsewhere, Wang explains that he is lost and isn't able to use the trick of guidance out of fear it will destroy the amulet completely, but luckily his sword spirit senses the exit. Tang points out how Faction 60 now only has 4 participants, and Hago tries to say the same about Faction 59. Tang is quick to point out though that their 5th member has been there all along. Bufang arrives in surprising fashion and Hago can immediately tell how dangerous he is. Bufang explains that if Sunro accepts his flower, then he will switch sides and betray Faction 59. He points out that Faction 60 is at a huge disadvantage even if they had their other member, and switching sides would balance the teams. Chen wants him to get away from Sunro, but is pushed away by Bufang's immense spiritual pressure. Bufang doesn't like her hesitancy. Being rejected has irritated him, and he releases his frustrations on the overly aggressive Chen. The attack is merciless, but the ideals bestowed on Chen by his father won't allow him to let evil prevail. However, Bufang takes pleasure in breaking the will of such idealistic people. He removes Chen's arm with surgical precision and tosses him aside. Wang appears from nowhere though and catches his friend. The teachers realize the type of power Bufang is using. He is using a negative energy called annihilation. When negative energy collides with a positive spiritual force, a huge spiritual energy called annihilation is produced. Froggy recognizes it as well and thinks about how Bufang's power is nothing compared to the negative energy they will see if Wang's amulet is broken. The moment is extremely tense, but Wang takes a moment to answer a call from his father and explains that he can't meet with him at the moment. Bufang is confused since he is certain that he annihilated Chen's arm, and we see that Wang actually managed to use his trick of repairing to restore it instantly. In exchange for saving his friend though, Wang has brought the amulet on the verge of breaking. Bufang can't sense any spiritual force from Wang but is intrigued and prepares to test his strength. Wang is completely disinterested though, taking Bufang's flower and giving it to Sunro. The competition is set to begin soon and we see that Yi has discovered what the Shadow Faction's next move is. Wang lags behind the rest of the group and shows that he wants to get limited edition crispy noodles only available in Faction 59. The lurking Shadow Faction boss attempts pretending to be a student, but Bufang knows she is lying because he has all the attractive girls at the school memorized. She explains how dangerous she is, but Bufang likes that and vows to help with whatever she has planned if she becomes his girlfriend. He is rejected once more and his dark side comes out when he calls her an old hag. She strikes him instantly and explains that the last person to call her that is lying in a grave with grass now taller than he is. The powerful attack only manages to invigorate Bufang further, but his negative energy still isn't enough to impress her and the girl defeats him with simple hand gestures. In that moment, Wang casually retrieves his precious crispy noodles when he stumbles onto the scene of the fight and sees that the girl's intentions to attack him are very clear. Thanks for watching part 3, 10,000 likes and I'll know you want a part 4.